Hey guys, this is just a quick video today showing you how I made a quilt board. Now as you can see, it's pretty large, but I wanted you to see the size of it because when I show you how I made it, we're going to do it on a much smaller scale. This one is about 40 inches wide by 60 inches long, and I hung it on the wall in my office. So I also made a second one. Let me grab that one. This one is 1/4 the size. It was made with a board that is 20 by 30. And so exactly 1/4 of the other one. And I made it smaller so that it was portable and I could keep it in here by my sewing machine so that if I was working on a quilt pattern, I could lay out some pieces. But those are not an actual pattern. That was just to show you how they stick. Alright, so we're going to make one now even on a smaller scale so you can see what I did. I've been quilting a lot lately and decided I wanted a quilt board. That is a board that you could lay out quilt pieces on and be able to, create your pattern before you actually sew it. For years I've been, laying it out on the floor or, on the couch. Something like that. So I thought, okay, a board would be much more helpful. So I actually made two because my first thought was I wanted a large board. So I made one that was 40 inches by 60, and I hung it in my office kind of in behind the door so it's out of the way, but there if I need it. And then I wanted one small enough to keep near my sewing machine, so if I just wanted to do a quick little block layout. So it's a 20 by 30. The way those dimensions came into play is I used the boards from the Dollar Tree. So just a quick rundown of what I used. And this is a simulation on a smaller scale to make it fit the frame a little bit easier. But I used 4 of the Dollar Tree boards. And again, they're 20 across by 30 in length. I used a cheap flannel back tablecloth, and then you need tape, glue, some kind of adhesive, whether it's a spray glue or just a glue that you can pour out and then smear around with a paintbrush or a sponge or something. And then because it's so lightweight, I use these little clips to hang it. So let's go ahead and get this part of this out of the way so I can kind of tell you where we're at. I started out thinking that I may want to fold my board, and in case I was going to travel like to a friend's house to quilt or something like that, wanted to take it with me. But then I decided really the small one would probably be sufficient, but I'll show you what I did when I had that concept. So I took 2 of the boards and I taped both sides. That way it's not bending, it's good and stable. And then once I got that done, and of course these are large, so we had to do it in the floor, but that's why I wanted to do a small one just to show you guys. And I just cut some pieces, they're not at all even. But okay, so I butted them together and I grabbed another piece of tape and I ran it down the entire length in the middle, but I only did one side. Doing only one side was going to enable me to be able to fold it. Okay, so just in case you wanted that option to fold, that's how I got it. The next thing I did, which on the small scale I'm not going to do, but I will tell you, I sprayed adhesive on it because I had a can, so I was like, use it up. But you could have just as easily, poured some Elmer's or whatever craft glue you might have, anything like that. And then you're going to take your tablecloth and put the pretty side down. You want the flannel sticking up. And then I smoothed it out really, really well so that it got into that glue. And then I held it tight as I flipped it over. And then I started wrapping it like a present, basically. I just pulled one side up. And bearing in mind, I was wanting, you know, to make sure I still had that flexibility, okay? So when I taped on each side. Okay, and grab another piece of tape. Tape it down, and let me grab a couple more. And you can make this pretty, you know, this is just to show you how to get it put together. But I just used tape, but you could use your adhesive on the back as well if you wanted. This is going to hang against my wall, so I wasn't too concerned about what it looked like. Alright, so at that point, I turned it over, I smoothed it again, because that glue is still adhering, you know, unless you're using a hot glue or something. It needs some time to set, so keep it smooth. But at that point, it is so lightweight, literally, this is going to hold it for you. Sorry about that. This is going to hold it for you. You can use two if it's very big, but on small scale, I just brought one in here to show you. And these are very inexpensive. You probably already have them. But that was how I did the large one. Now the small one, that was just one board. We'll treat this like it's one board because I did literally the same thing. You smooth, 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 right? And then the only difference is, because I thought, you know, I'm going to be carrying this thing around, I didn't want it to look like that. So I took another piece of the tablecloth and I cut it to fit, and literally just, you know, glued it on, and had a pretty, in this case, orange, would have a pretty orange rectangle back here covering up the ugly. Alright, so, very inexpensive, very simple, and very effective. Now, just some other things. You can also, if you wanted a really sturdy one, you know, not the Dollar Tree quality, then you could use those big boards that are insulation. They're still lightweight, but it's those insulation boards you can get at the hardware store. Those would work great as well. You can also just use quilt batting. Personally, my opinion on that is quilt batting's expensive. I don't want to have it hanging on a wall just to test my pieces, because the more you use this, you're going to see little threads and lint and things start to form. I don't want to be cleaning that off of batting thinking I may use that batting someday. So just, I totally threw that idea out the door, but know that you can do it. All right, and another thing is you can, if it's something you're going to leave in the same place all the time, you don't even have to have this little board. Just hang your tablecloth up. You want to secure it at the top and the bottom, because these are so lightweight, and if there's any static electricity at all as you walk by it, it's going to cling to you. So you wouldn't want to walk away and cause that friction that might take all your pieces and knock them off or anything. But just something to keep in mind. If you want to go straight to the wall with your tablecloth, just secure it top and bottom so that it's not going to move. So anyway, guys, I did want to just share this with you. If you sew really any patterns, but for quilting, you know, this is ideal because you are putting down various pieces trying to form a pattern. Obviously, you've probably got that pattern on graph paper or somewhere. But when you actually cut those pieces of material, you like to lay them out and make sure of what they're going to look like together before you start putting seams. Oh, and that reminds me of one other way you can do this. If you're going to use a board and you didn't want to tape and all of that, you wanted something that was going to be quite permanent. You could take two of these tablecloths or two pieces that's going to fit your board, and you could make like a pillowcase or a slip cover. You know, you could sew around three sides or glue and then turn it right side out, or in this case it's going to be wrong side out because you do want the flannel showing, but you would slide your board inside, what I would do, because of gravity, I would make one side maybe an inch longer, so that after you slid it in there, you can flip it over and fold that piece up. And at that point, you know, you could have some Velcro on it, or just tape or pin, whatever you need to do, so that it's not going to move on you. It's not going to be shifting inside there or anything, since you're not going to have adhesive inside. But that's just another idea. So anyway, guys, hope you have a great week. Quick little video. I just wanted to share this with you because it's been so effective. All right. Have a blessed one.